Hello there, Melissa Lemon here. I'm so glad you're joining me today. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about how important it is to get support when there is a significant amount of anxiety or, it's so unnecessary to do this alone. And in my experience, isolation will just compound things and make things worse. And so I just wanted to talk very briefly about the importance of getting support and getting the right kind of support. So I don't remember if I have another video scheduled specifically for this topic or not, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about choosing a good practitioner. And even choosing a practitioner that is right for you. So I now do intuitive healing, and I was at one point going to be a counselor. And now, if I was going to go see a practitioner, it would most likely be an energy, somebody who does something with energy. But not everybody's there yet, and I think for some people, therapy is kind of an important first step to be able to become more aware and be able to, just kind of become aware of what's going on inside the mind and the heart, especially if somebody's been numb for a really long time, or if maybe, they have a low emotional IQ or something like that. Those would be, I think, reasons that somebody might consider doing therapy first, just to kind of build some of those building blocks. So I will say I have had 7 therapists, I think 6 or 7 therapists, and I learned a lot from having so many different therapists. And a lot of the reason I had so many different therapists was because of different specialties, like different things that I needed at different times, and also because of several moves that happened over these kind of 10 years that I saw these different professionals. So let's say tips for finding somebody. I would say, I personally am somebody who learns really well through trial and error, and so I'm trying to think of tips that might be helpful because I learned through trial and error, and so it's hard to say, like, what to avoid. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you just have to go try it. I guess that's the first tip. Do not think that because you go to see somebody one time that you have to keep going back to the same person. And maybe give it more than one time with somebody, because it takes a while to get to know somebody, but just know that you can leave therapy at any time for any reason. You don't have to keep going back to the same person if, after a while things aren't working out or whatever. And even in energy healing, oftentimes I will start to incorporate new people who can help just because they have a different perspective, or maybe a different technique or a different session or something that I need or that I want. And so it we don't have to have some type of loyalty to one person. In fact, how poor we would be if we only had one person helping us heal. So that's a little bit of a thought there. Another thought is, there are resources to finding people, like psychologytoday.com or something like that. And just a word of caution about that is, it's really hard to tell who somebody is online. In fact, I can't, with Psychology Today, I can't believe when you go and you read somebody's profile how they're not really specialties, but they kind of look like that on the website. Like, I work with this kind of person and 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 this kind of person, etc., 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 etc. And I think if you have a specific issue and you need real help, maybe real intense help, you need to find somebody who is actually a specialist in something, if that makes any sense. So maybe a specialist in working with people who have anxiety, or a specialist in a certain kind of technique that you think would be helpful for you. So, and that's going to lead me to talking a little bit about techniques. So, you know, in intuitive healing, we have a lot of different techniques that we use, like breathing and tapping and visualization. And excuse me, it's really early in the morning. And therapists and counselors also have techniques that they use. And I think it's important to educate yourself a little bit on those techniques and find out what works best for you. So I will say I recently had a session with somebody, and I had tried a couple of different things. I had tried just breathing. I had tried magnets. Magnets are something used in the emotion code, body code, and belief code. I tried that on this person, and just like nothing was releasing. And finally, I just had the thought, like, start tapping. And so I started tapping, and suddenly things just started to release. And so for that person, you know, doing sessions with that person in the future, I'm always just going to start with tapping, and maybe we can do other things eventually too, because people's bodies kind of have to be primed for energy work, and they as they start to get used to it, they become more open to things like that, and you know, the other things that weren't working may work someday, but that day it was like the tapping is the movement, and the tapping was kind of what was beginning to start to dislodge things and move things around. And so educating yourself about different kinds of techniques, or you know, if it is something like energy healing or intuitive healing, just beginning to maybe experiment those techniques on yourself to see what works for you. How helpful do you feel journaling is for you? Do you feel any better after you journal? Do you feel any better after you do, you know, a pre-recorded session? Do you feel any better after you take some deep breaths on something for a while, or after you exercise? Is it, you know, is it movement that you need? What is it that your body needs to begin the quickest process of healing and to start shifting those energies as fast as possible? So just a little bit about techniques. And again, I just want to reiterate the importance of getting help and support when we're struggling with anxiety so much, because it is you know, don't we all want the best life possible? I do. I want the best and the happiest life possible. And so if I need to get some support for that, for things that I'm facing, then I'm definitely going to do it. And I also wanted to add that it can be difficult if we're helping a loved one who has anxiety, and just to get support for somebody who might be you know, a caretaker or a spouse or a parent or something of somebody who has anxiety, because just being a support person, you know, in life for somebody who has anxiety can be hard. And so maybe just getting some help and support in that way too can be helpful. So anyway, that's everything I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.